interesting to see who has the advantage. Oh, big left hand.
Islam Makhachev has been in the UFC for almost 8 years, but only recently stepped out of Khabib's shadow.
Waiting to be taken down.
Oh, wow. I can't see. He's got it.
Wow! Today, the Dagestani fighter is on a run of 11 straight victories.
It's over. Leo's out.
It is all over!
Holds the lightweight championship belt, and is a massive favorite in the upcoming clash against the pound-for-pound king. Let's take a closer look at Makhachev's entire journey to find out if he's able to surpass the achievements of his dear friend. Like many born in Dagestan, Islam got involved in martial arts since childhood. Quickly becoming Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov's favorite student, at the age of 20, he conquered a world championship in combat sambo, simultaneously launching a transition to MMA. At first, Makhachev performed on the amateur scene, and even crossed paths with another future UFC fighter, Zabit Magomed Sharipov. Makhachev's professional career took off in 2010. For the next 3 years, he would compete in regional promotions across Russia. Even back then, the upstart stood out for his versatility, confidently striking on the feet, and proudly representing Dagestani Airlines. Having amassed 7 wins in a row, Islam got signed to the biggest promotion in Russia at the time, M1 Global. Waiting for him was the 8-1 Mansour Barnaoui. In the opening round, the Dagestani did well in the stand-up, and pulled off a couple of signature sambo throws. That's what eventually secured him a unanimous decision victory. Jiu-Jitsu world champion Rander Junio couldn't find an answer to Makhachev's wrestling either.
And again. Not that time.
Almost a year later, under Abdulmanap's guidance, Islam shared the ring with Yuri Ivlev. The athlete, dubbed Little Fedor, has been with the organization for 10 years and achieved 9 stoppage wins during that stint. The athletes clinched up early. Makhachev landed a takedown right into a full mount.
Ivlev trying to grab a hold, but it's no good.
From there, he delivered over 50 unanswered blows, and as soon as the adversary exploded to escape, Islam snatched an arm in the blink of an eye.
It switches to this is a fitting tactic. He's got that arm. He tapped the referee was.
Prior to signing with the Ultimate Promotion, Makhachev had to pass the last hurdle in the face of a gatekeeper, Ivica Trushchek, with 4 dozen pro bouts. The Dagestani prospect dominated throughout the contest.
But he got feet again. Oh, he gets to lean again. It's actually
And in the third round, locked up an inverted triangle from side control.
round looks as if it's going to be exactly the same. And he taps.
Which granted him a ticket to the big leagues.
Look out for this guy. Because
holding an 11-0 record with 7 victories inside the distance, 23-year-old Makhachev followed his sparring partner Khabib to the UFC. The sturdy Leo Kuntz was the first test. The American was on a roll with 15 straight wins and hasn't lost in over 5 years.
1-1. Here we go.
Loading up an overhand at the outset, Makhachev entered the clinch and issued an infamous airline ticket.
glorious.
Kuntz managed to get up,
He's out the back door. Nicely done.
but saw little success standing.
Right hook. Oh, beautiful elbow.
Making their UFC debuts.
Good uppercuts.
And
by
again,
Makhachev.
about utilizing movement.
Good punches.
Islam took the bull by the horns, put the hooks in, and cut off the oxygen supply.
On top, which is much. Oh, it's underneath the
Fist
chin.
fight.
It's over. It's over. Leo's out.
It is all over.
Beautiful job by Makhachev.
Great UFC debut.
The Dagestani up-and-comer displayed a flawless performance, leaving no chance for the opponent. After a stunning debut, Makhachev found himself on the precipice of the top 15. He was matched up against the experienced Adriano Martins. The Brazilian was a veteran of over 30 fights with considerable knockout power.
So both guys have had their moments here early, but Martins!
We are underway.
Islam started charging forward recklessly from the jump.
Disciplines, oftentimes their grappling cancels each other out.
Makhachev has been training a lot in San Jose, California.
The tricky Martins waited for the right moment and then fired on the counter.
Big shot by Martins. It is all over. Whoa!
Making Makhachev overcommit, he clipped the rival's chin with the lead hand.
He caught him moving in perfectly with the right hook.
Islam suffered his first loss, and it was a brutal one. Just recently, he was expected to go far, and now the young talent's career was hanging in the balance.
Stop to this contest at 1 minute.
The comeback took place a year later. This time, Makhachev shared the cage with Chris Wade. The Long Island killer, who deliberately hunted Russian fighters, promised to close the Sambo versus American wrestling debate for good.
We are underway.
In the first round, Islam locked a tight triangle, but the stocky powerhouse was too hard to strangle.
Get the elbow across the belly button.
And Mergliata acknowledges the toes interlocked in the fence 4 or 5 times.
After the break, it was Wade who put on the guillotine and tried to force a tap.
Makhachev gets the knee cleared. He's so strong, can't tell if he's got it. Okay, good job.
Makhachev.
Oh, and he committed so hard to
In the tie-breaking third, Makhachev dominated on top.
guillotine here. Those are flat. There is no escape. Lets him up just for a minute.
Will go the distance. And there's the final horn.
And achieved an important victory by decision in a grueling contest. The son of Dagestan returned to the octagon at the beginning of 2017. The seasoned gatekeeper Nick Lentz volunteered to welcome him back. Throughout the bout, Islam pressed his counterpart against the fence, executing gorgeous sweeps.
There you go, Makhachev. Look at that. Nice, neat. Look at that.
Islam here, controlling that inside with the left.
Lentz was desperately looking for a submission on the mat, to no avail.
Interesting. This is for the chin. Does not look
Tonight. See if he can get.
At the end, Makhachev settled in a position to strike and earned another decision win.
real good shots here. He's got the back. Hard shots here.
We know Lentz can take some punishment. Top position, time to
Control by Makhachev. A clear victory for Makhachev.
The level of opposition continued to grow. In January of 2018, Islam was scheduled to face the battle-tested UFC mainstay, Gleison Tibau. The Brazilian had been on the biggest stage for over 10 years, and back in the day, gave Khabib Nurmagomedov the toughest fight.
Hand, and that's exactly what he did.
face Michel Prazeres back in September.
The meeting was a steady affair up until the sudden burst of action.
I think what's going to be interesting to see who has the advantage. Oh, big left hand. That's it. Wow. Wow. Out of nowhere, I was about to say.
Timing the attack perfectly, Makhachev fired an intercepting overhand.
It's going to be interesting to see who has the advantage. Oh, big.
Now firmly on the right track, 26-year-old Islam was approaching the top of the lightweight division. Next in line was Cajun Johnson. The Canadian had not lost in 3 years, and knocked out previously mentioned Adriano Martins one bout prior.
He clipped him behind the head. Martins is out. That's it.
3 minutes in, Makhachev entered the clinch.
The reason Islam's just cutting them off. Now, this is where he's good at.
Secured both opponents' legs, quickly climbed into full mount, and set up a textbook armbar.
Johnson was certainly expected that he
Johnson had no choice but to tap.
It's over. He'll go get it. There it is. He's got the arm.
and there's the tap.
Another big finish.
Clean work and a second consecutive finish in the ultimate promotion. Islam spent months begging for a high-profile opposition, but none of the top guys wanted the smoke. As a result, he agreed to welcome the debuting Arman Tsarukyan. The blossoming prospect won his last 12 and could definitely place a shot.
They touch him up, so...
Early on, the athletes got stuck in close quarters, and Makhachev performed a magnificent foot sweep.
Call out, so lovely.
Butterfly work from Tsarukyan, really nice work, creating a scramble.
You've got to watch his neck.
Then used a standing guillotine roll to end up on top. Yet Arman escaped and seized the initiative. At the end, he became the first to score a takedown on the Dagestani phenom.
Does that count? No. My goodness, what a scramble. A significant jump.
Thank you.
The beginning of the second frame was mostly distance striking, with both contestants utilizing their kicks.
He does it so very well for next one.
At the 2-minute mark, Islam took Arman down, but couldn't settle in position.
More grip here, but to let go of it that he uses to slide past the guard.
So strong to his feet. That's insane.
They wrestled back and forth until the bell. The final stretch opened with a shootout.
I feel like Makhachev's got to make something happen this round.
Slip over right hand.
Tsarukyan changed levels first, yet Makhachev thwarted the attempt and got a double leg himself.
And I think Makhachev senses that, gets a big takedown.
Eventually tilting the balance in his favor.
A little bit, another takedown. That's all you, Dan. That's all you.
These two put on a grappling masterclass and were awarded the Fight of the Night bonus. No matter the result, Tsarukyan proved that he was ready to scrap with the best of them and is now in the lightweight top 10.
Ladies and gentlemen.
An owner of 5 straight victories, Islam stepped into the cage again in September of 2019. He faced Davi Hamosh on the main card of UFC 242. The Tasmanian Devil was a BJJ world champion and considered a formidable submission ace. Makhachev stayed at range in the beginning, connecting with single strikes.
I just felt that. To go here in round 1.
Hamosh was patient, exploding with flurries from time to time.
For 20 on one another, looking to counter each other.
The tension could be cut with a knife.
Moment ago.
The second round kicked off with some clinch work.
Hamosh immediately counters with a flurry after Makhachev landed. Looked like Hamosh was in a pretty good position to get it.
When the shootout resumed, the Brazilian landed a hard jab.
A little bit more. Oh! Nice jab by Hamosh, and he's got power, and that's why he likes to wait.
The blow staggered Islam, but he was completely fine by the end.
Hamosh a little bit bloodied now.
Hamosh just waiting a little too much. It needs to be.
Keep the distance.
The student followed the guidance from his mentor.
Oh, he gets him with the knee. And he hurts him.
Unafraid to jump into the guard, the Russian began smashing the ground specialist into the canvas.
Islam's happy to oblige.
Hamosh tried to throw up submissions, but all attempts to catch the Sambo master were in vain.
I think when he's chose to do it is the key.
Touches on what would be his 7th UFC win in 8 tries. Out.
Islam won a clear unanimous decision and finally earned a spot in the top 15. Now he was ranked 14th in the division and accepted a tough challenge versus Drew Dober. The American Dad character-like kickboxer on a 3-fight knockout stretch was well known for his chin and a bludgeoning punch.
They're pulling out the kicks of her.
Staying away from the powerhouse, Makhachev took the action to the ground a minute into the round.
Beautiful single there by Makhachev.
He was proactive on the canvas, constantly looking for subs.
He needs to try to find a way to a hip or something. Oh, he's got to be careful.
Lost it. Wow, that was his opportunity. Man, that's some hot.
Towards the end, the Dagestani latched onto an arm, but Drew slipped out.
Oh, Drew, he's gonna break his arm.
Oh, Drew's okay here.
Oh my God.
Now he's not.
After the break, Islam executed a signature inside trip.
Now he knows how strong.
Look at that. See that?
Staying heavy on top, he was investing into strikes.
Davi Ramos, right? Davi Ramos,
Take him down and win the fight.
That's what's crazy.
In the third round, Dober went all in despair, and ended up on his back again. Having broken into half guard, Makhachev clamped the enemy into an iron vise.
He's trying real hard with this Kimura and he loses it.
Surrender ensued in a matter of moments.
Look at Dover's face.
Islam Makhachev submits Dover.
Wow.
The arm triangle is an old-school stranglehold that requires a considerable amount of physical strength. Another standout performance against a dangerous rival moved the 29-year-old Dagestani closer to the ultimate goal. In July of 2021, Islam got an opportunity to headline a UFC event for the first time. On the other side of the cage stood Thiago Moises. The young Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt was considered a hopeful on a run of 3 straight victories.
Head kick from Moises.
Or the plus 500 dog.
Makhachev was efficient on the feet and implemented wrestling occasionally.
And as the kicks coming back,
Raises the left arm of Makhachev.
Let your hands and kicks go and try to get a big shot.
you know, he's yet to hit the canvas.
Oh, wow.
I'm right, as I say. I was just...
Moises offered some resistance and even landed a takedown, but that was his only bright moment that night.
Moises, but
Yeah, look at this.
he's going to shake him off.
Then they're going to stop thinking about defending the hook. And what's that going to do? You're a sitting duck waiting to be taken down.
In the later rounds, the Dagestani completed the task at hand and squeezed out the tap.
I can't see. He's got it.
Wow! How about it? Islam Makhachev.
The world champion in Sambo completely outgrappled another BJJ ace, proving the team's captain's point. 20th career triumph and the 5th finish under the Ultimate Promotions banner. A rightful contender emerged in the lightweight division. Ranked 5th, Islam showed up at UFC 267 in Abu Dhabi. He faced off against a late replacement opponent, Dan Hooker. The striker from New Zealand was one step lower in the rankings at the time.
25 betting favorite, tonight's fight clock.
After throwing a right hook, Makhachev dove in for a reactive takedown.
Boxing. Oh, there it is.
Beautiful little hook.
Establishing positional control, the Dagestani began setting up a Kimura.
Now he's inside control.
Following Khabib's advice,
Dan's always stepping back.
he easily sealed the deal.
Oh, it's a drop. Oh my goodness.
Islam Makhachev.
Wow.
This challenge was supposed to be a difficult one, albeit in reality, it turned out to be a cakewalk. Islam had his way with a top-ranked guy, showing the gap between himself and the rest of the contenders.
Looked like there was some sort of protest from Dan Hooker.
At the start of 2022, Makhachev got a title eliminator bout with Beneil Dariush. However, Dariush pulled out due to injury. The battle-hardened veteran, Bobby Green, was brought in to save the day.
And that's saying something.
Ramming Green to the fence, Makhachev immediately took the action to his own domain.
So far, but Islam will be relentless.
I mean, he is relentless. And he's
Hands
got...
are locked.
Yeah.
Smashing through resistance, he moved into position to rain down punishment.
Dan Hooker.
And when the back mount was secured, it was only a matter of time.
At this point, Green's covering up. Makhachev swinging away.
He's trying to escape.
Referee's gonna step in. Gonna do it. Wow! Islam Makhachev.
Islam got yet another finish inside the opening round. The impressive streak of 10 straight victories made him the #1 contender. The final boss at the top of the ladder was Charles Oliveira. After beating the high-ranked opposition by October of 2022, Du Bronx was on a record-breaking run of 11 wins in a row.
Gaethje back to work on the leg kick, landing a right hand. He's out.
He can't let him take his back. Oh, he's gonna go. Oh my goodness.
In Islam's eyes, though, the Brazilian was nothing more than a temporary placeholder. Charles jumped into a fire right away, but Makhachev's gun turned out to be bigger.
UFC 280 for 20% off today and tomorrow.
Expect Oliveira to go forward.
Oliveira didn't find much success in the clinch either.
Oliveira takes lead here.
Trying to get up. Nice job there.
To tell Charles Oliveira to get his hand off the top of the octagon.
He spent the rest of the opening round eating shots on bottom.
Islam graciously came down with it. Oh, big shots.
That's something you don't want. You don't want to just continuously...
In the second, Islam was landing with conviction, both walking back
Oliveira right back. He's a good striker. I know he's not known for it.
and forward. He rattled the opponent's dome
Knocked down from Makhachev.
and put on an alligator squeeze.
He's got to watch the arm. Oh, this is
Islam Makhachev submits Charles Oliveira to win the title.
Dropping Charles with the right hook, Makhachev trapped him in an arm triangle. The championship title and submission of the year honors went to Dagestan. The student made his master proud.
Undisputed UFC lightweight champion of the world, Islam!
Some criticized Makhachev for the lack of resounding names on his resume. What they didn't mention, however, was that many elite contenders either pulled out or avoided the lower-ranked Islam altogether. But the Oliveira fight left no doubts about his skills. Only the pound-for-pound top dog, Alexander Volkanovski, was unimpressed and challenged the newly minted champion. Whoever wins between them, the hardcore fans are in for a treat.
Махачев забирает спину.
Glorious.
Ambitious call out to hold.
Too easy.
It's over. Leo's out.
It is all over! If you present an opportunity to get a sub, it's over. He'll go get it. There it is. He's got the...
If you enjoyed the video, squeeze that like button, subscribe to the channel, and vote for sport.
Interesting to see who has the advantage. Oh, big left hand. That's it.
Good boxing. Oh, there it is.
Oh, my goodness.
Islam Makhachev. Oh,